Welcome to Morris Ministries. Your favorite Bible thumper here, Mr. Morris. And today we're going to be talking about free will. Do you really have it? Does God really know everything? Well, I'm here to say yes to both of those things. The problem with a non-Christian worldview is that time is very linear. It's a natural progression, A, B, C, D, and there's really no deviation from anything else. Well, that's not actually how time works. Because if time was a line, they'd be right. The fact that this event happens, and this event is going to happen, and this event is going to happen, would mean that you never had the free will to choose something differently. In one line. But time is not linear. Time is actually a ball. Time is spherical, and it maps spherically. And it's consistently moving to create different potentials infinitely. Let me get it a little more clear. In one timeline, one specific line, if it was only a line, there would only be the events that existed there. But in a ball, there is the potential for the regression of an event. Meaning that if event A did not happen, the potential for the event A still exists, and you can make it happen in the future. By having time mapped spherically, which science will eventually prove to exist, it means that you do have an absolute free will. God sets an infinite number of potentials in front of you, and your free will is the path that you chose to walk, that one potential that existed over another. God knows the possibilities, the infinite number of possibilities, and you chose a specific possibility. However, what about predestination? An event that was meant to happen. How is that related to my free will if God already said it was going to happen? Well, the event itself is going to happen, but it doesn't matter by the means of which it happens. For example, let's say you're walking down the street and you were meant to run into somebody to tell you that your shoes were untied. It's a very weird example, but let's go with that. Well, does it really matter who that's supposed to be to tell you that your shoe's untied? No, it doesn't. Someone has to do it, and someone will eventually do it. And that's the point. There's enough people out there with enough infinite potentials that someone will fulfill the role of the predestined event. No different than a car crash. Let's say you were meant to get into a car crash with somebody. Doesn't matter who the other car was as it relates to you, just that you got into an accident. And if nobody fulfilled the role, then your car would have failed itself. Something along those lines. Or let's take the opportunity of Satan. The angels themselves all have free will, otherwise they would not have had the option to fall from God's grace, like Satan. Satan just happened to have been the one to fulfill the role necessary to let evil run on the earth. Could have easily been Michael, it could have easily been anybody else. It doesn't matter. It could have been any one of the cherubims in the hierarchy of heaven. It just so happened to have been Lucifer himself. We call him Satan. And it is that God gives you your free will, as it is written. And there is no one that can take that away from you. And there's no such thing as a predestined event that interferes with your free will. But what about Jonah and the whale? Well, that's a little different. You see, Jonah said no to God. He specifically said no to God, and the whale did eat him until he said yes. Jonah had the option to never say yes. He didn't have to go. Someone else would have eventually fulfilled the role. This is why the Bible talks about many are called, but few are chosen. And Jonah was chosen to go to Nineveh. So he was eaten by the whale to go. If he had never said yes, God would have chose someone else to fulfill the role of going to Nineveh. Free will comes into play. I hope that kind of clears up a lot of the misunderstandings. If anybody has any questions, just put it in the comments section, and I'll get right back to you. Thank you again for listening.